Welcome, everybody, to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gulmer, and am a podcast engineer here. And excited to bring you another episode of the World of Nutrition with Marilyn Lamer that we do here every second Friday of the month. Right now at 5 o'clock p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Hawaii time. And I'd love to have you come on as a guest. So let us know if you're interested. As well as to check out all of our social media, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, like, share, subscribe, and so on. But with nothing further ado, and bring in Marilyn to kick us off and introduce our great guest today. So, welcome,
Awesome.
Marilyn.
Aloha. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate you. Welcome, everyone, to the World of Nutrition podcast, Nutrition for Your Body, Mind, and Soul. Today, I have two amazing guests, and I just love meeting people. And energy is everything, right? So when you meet people and they have great energy, you just want to learn more about them and have them share. And so I've asked both of my guests today to just share more. And so my first guest, please meet John Ju. He's a Gold Gen X trailblazer, redefining what it means to age with vitality and purpose. At 75, John is a passionate advocate for lifestyle medicine, embodying physical, mental, and spiritual wellness. As an active entrepreneur and visionary, John's work in health advocacy inspires communities, showing that life after 70 is a powerful time for growth. More than just a leader, he's a community connector focused on fostering health and wealth, ensuring a legacy that impacts future generations. Amazing, John. Please share with us more about what you do.
Thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, I'd be very happy to share. What I really do think that we're problem solvers. There's two major problems that we have in our society today, and that is the health of our people, especially, I speak directly, even though I do mix it up with a lot of people internationally, but also on a global base, on a United States basis. And the biggest problem that we have, the two biggest problems are our health and our wealth. And I'll get into the health part first, is that I really like to appeal to our elders, because our elder population, me being one, and I don't know how you want to define elders, but there's definitely different definitions of it. But as far as being an elder at 75 years old, I'm very fortunate and very grateful that I am in the best health of my life right now. And I've always been, pretty good shape, but at the same time, as our population ages, unfortunately, the things that we do with our lifestyles also age to a point where they go down the tubes. I like to speak pretty direct about things, and our population, especially our elders, is not going in a very good direction. In fact, there's a lot of stats, and you're probably aware of a lot of these statistics, is that at our age, let's just use 70 and over, what's happening is our lives are manifesting from the habits that we have been, and we're almost like victims with our society. And I don't want to get into the politics. We just finished that little thing right now, which, I could definitely comment, because I like to be opinionated about how I feel about things if they're for the good of all people. What I'm talking about right now is the lifestyles that we've manifested in our population here in the United States, is that unfortunately the society that we have, I'd say 98%. I'd say 98% of the people that I know in my community are leading lives that, if you ask them, where would they like to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, based on where you are today, the answer that I get most often is, are you kidding me? I can't even tell you what's going to happen next week. If I feel like this today, I'm going to feel even worse next week, or 3 months from now, or 6 months from now. And I can't even think about that, because I just want to live a day at a time. And that, unfortunately, is the mindset. That's what we've normalized in our society today is as you get older, what happens, unfortunately, is you create more aches and pains. You have a fear of chronic disease if you don't have 2 or 3 chronic diseases. You're on medications that are managed by your doctor from a sick care system that we have in our society today. And that sick care system is using their business model on us poor victims. I mean, it's almost like if you don't take responsibility for your own health, you are a victim. And that's what's happening today. And it's very unfortunate that that has been normalized in our society. It has been normalized. My friends and family, I'm surrounded by this message that needs to be, John, as you would say, revolutionized. He's one of our people here on this call that we're talking about revolutionary things, that it's a shift. It's a shift in our mindset that we cannot rely on our sick care system to take care of us as we age when they want to just foster their business model, and that's to keep you as sick as you can for as long as you can. The longer you stay sick, unfortunately, the longer they get money from all the medications, from the surgeries, from the appointments that are just not in our best interest. And they really go right directly to a symptom of what you've got instead of a root cause. And that's been our biggest problem in our society today. So that's it for now. Right now, Marilyn, that's my rant for today. Feel free to ask me more questions and I'll rant on some more.
Yeah, no, I get that. I feel that I like what you said, you are a victim if you don't take responsibility for your health. And I had a health scare around a decade ago to where I ended up in the hospital and I thought I was invincible until I wasn't. And that was my kind of wake up call that I need to change something. And unfortunately, I feel that there's a lot of people that are in that situation where they think they're invincible until they're not. And then they get that health scare and that's their wake up call that something needs to shift.
Yes. And speaking of that scare, that health scare that happens to people, or it doesn't happen to them, and they just keep going down this path, and eventually, they succumb to nursing facilities, cognitive dysfunction, things like that. So they don't even, a lot of people, and it's very common in our society today. And I'm very, very grateful that I can see this, and also very grateful that I think that those who want better health, that we can help them. And that's what we're here today. The world of nutrition means everything to where we are today. And I think that's a very important message. So I'm grateful for you to have this gathering here and this get together, because that's where it's all about. But I'm going to give a real quick story of an example of what happened just within the last 30 days to me. Is my brother, I got a call from my niece who was in an ambulance in Bangkok. And what happened was my brother, he's a year younger than I am, 74 years old, and he was barely breathing. They took him to the hospital in an ambulance. My niece was on the phone calling me and saying, I don't know what to do. She was in a panic. She was in tears. She was just very, very much distraught with what was going on. They admitted him to the hospital. What happened was all his lifestyle habits caught up to him. He didn't have a heart attack. His organs just shut down. Basically, his lungs. He was a lifetime smoker. He hadn't smoked. He started smoking when he was 16 years old, 74 years old, never quit. Never quit. That's how strong a habit it was for him. Even though, I told him 20 years ago and I gave up on him. I don't give up on too many things, but it's got to be coming from their own person if they want to change any habit that might not be in their best interest. So make a long story short, he spent 2 weeks in the hospital on a ventilator. They gave him no food or nutrition. They just gave him this tubular feeding of some chalky substance that I took a picture of it because I could not pronounce most of the words on that ingredient list. which is very unfortunate. And there's another big lesson for all of us, is that if we can learn how to read our ingredient lists, we'd be much better off. Then we can make some choices about what we are eating. But what happened with my brother is he spent the 2 weeks in the hospital. For 3 days. He was in a coma. He had no idea where he was. No idea. I think I knew where he was. And we talked about this later on. He was ready to transition. He was ready to transition to another place that was, not on this planet. It's a spiritual place that I'm sure that he was prepared to go to, but he decided not to. And what happened was he got, just like that, he got a little bit better to the point where they transferred him out of the ICU. They put him in another room, and the doctors said, we're going to operate on you. You're going to spend another 5 to 6 days in this hospital because you've got a bowel resection that needs to be done. And if you don't do it, we're going to, you're probably going to throw an aneurysm. You're probably going to have some kind of blockage. That his stomach was really swollen and really bloated. And he said, if you don't get relief on this, that's going to kill you. And so they used a scare tactic on him. And my brother said, he told me this before they even came into the room, if I spend one more day in this hospital, I'm a dead man. I cannot take this anymore. I'm out of here. And I said, I support you for that, because I know what system he's up against. And what he's up against here is, it's their business model. That's a cold thing to say, but they saw him as another patient who had, another $3,000 or $4,000 a day of staying there, and the surgery and all that was not necessary. I said, let's go. He said, I'm out of here. I said, I support you. We'll get out of here. Nobody supported it. Doctors got angry. They got mad. They said, if you don't, you're going to die. And my brother said, I'll die anyways, if you keep me here. So yanked him out, took him home. And I knew, from my training and from what I've learned, that nutrition is the best thing. Got him on a 3 meals a day for 10 days, whole food, plant-based, and it's lifestyle medicine. We got a little bit of exercise. We gave him stress management, which is also very key. And he had no more stress being in that hospital. We also worked on his sleep, which is so important. And he's a new man. He's basically, I just got home 10 days ago, and he's a new man as far as where he is today. And he's got some hope, and he's got some things there that he can spend with his family that are changing his life. So.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Our bodies are so smart. Our bodies know how to heal itself from the inside out. And I love that, going back to just the basics, right? Like you said, whole foods. And I was just thinking about a video that came up on my feed the other day. He was like, if we have a health food section in the grocery store, what is everything else? And I was like, that is so true, right? Wow.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah. What I got out of all that, Marilyn, was that my brother was hitting rock bottom. In fact, he was below rock bottom because he had basically bowed out. And to change him in that quick a time is what the only really optimal healing can do, is nutrition to the root cause of who you are. And I've heard stories about people turning it around, but because, we were really, really committed to just giving him total nutrition. I'm not a bad cook, but I also taught his wife, his Thai wife, and she watched me for 6 or 7 days, and then she just started pitching in, and then she cooked the last couple of meals the last couple of days on her own, and that's where he is right now. He's cooking. He's eating just whole food, plant-based, delicious meals that he said. In fact, he's a complainer. He said, "What's going on here? This energy that I'm getting here is really taking away from my afternoon nap. It kind of pisses me off." He's changed his habits so much that we'll see. We got to stick now.
So did you just totally change his diet, like cold turkey to plant-based whole foods? Is that correct?
Yes. What I did was, and I also had a couple of supplements and a couple of other things that accelerates that process. a product that I so believe in, and I've had it been wearing it for 2 years. It's called LifeWave, and it's a stem cell patch that uses healing, be the light, healing from within. And he's got a tremendous supply of that for him and his wife. So, that's a good thing about, what we can do as far as helping people healing from inside. That is the best way to go.
Amazing. So I like that what you said, optimal healing, nutrition to the root cause. And so how do you go about like talking to your clients and just bringing value to them? I'm curious.
Well, the way I look at it is I want to find out where they're coming from, where they're at, and how they feel about themselves and their health, and to have that awareness. And then do some, maybe, especially elders, doing some projections with them saying, would you like to spend time with your grandkids, for instance? Would you like to be able to run and play with them and wrestle with them? And in my case, play golf with them? Or would you rather have them push you around in a wheelchair, and then pretty soon you really, are a burden to everybody around you, because not only is it a health issue, but it's also a financial issue. It can be so expensive to get caregivers, to get nursing assistants in nursing facilities. We're looking at the average expense is about $10,000 a month for those who can afford it. Yeah. And, it's really unfortunate that is where a lot of our population is going. And people who can't afford it, it's even more difficult, because to have somebody take care of them in such a way it doesn't matter who's taking care of you. It's an expense. It's a big expense.
So with the elders, that reminds me, when you're talking to them and they're like, I can't even imagine what I'm going to do next week. Like, how do you get them to just, snap out of it really and get to like have that hope for a future and see what's possible, that they can be, playing with their grandkids or golfing with their grandkids? I'm curious.
Great question. Great question. And the reason why I say it's a great question is the very first step is they have to have an awareness of where they are and what they're doing, because we've been so normalized in our society today that it's normal to be aches and pains. It's normal to have chronic disease. It's normal to have cancer. That is just ridiculous thinking. So they have to learn to take responsibility for where they are. And once they do that, then I can get a little peek into what their life is about, as far as a little bit of desire. If you can just get a little bit of desire from them that they want to get better, instead of thinking they're getting worse, then you can nurture that in such a way that you can grow off of their desire to say one little step at a time is all you need to do. It's really simple. And I think God has designed all of us in such a way that it is simple, very simple. Just go to the root cause of what your problems are. And that's really at the cellular level. Feed it nutrition and miracles will happen.
Yeah. And do you recommend like organic first and then like maybe a vegetable wash? Or a fruit wash. I'm just wondering, like, when people may be curious or want to try a plant-based diet, like how do you go about transitioning them?
What I like to think about is, because I'm a pretty simple guy too, sometimes, most of the time, and to keep it really simple. If you can say whatever you put into your body is either good for you or not good for you. And so if you, for instance, take something that's non-organic and it's got, it's made with, even if it's a fruit or a vegetable and it's got some type of chemical or toxic, either learn how to wash it and make sure you get it out of your body, but just to be aware that, that even fruits and vegetables that are so good for you can be toxic with the pesticides and the chemicals that are on that. So if you can buy organic, and know that that's, way to go. And then it's a learning curve. If you keep learning that if you put in your body something good, or something that's not good, then you're going to pay the price either way.
I'm just, because the cost sometimes between organic and not organic is just, and I've seen people, they'll eat maybe and I don't know if maybe plant-based people do this. Normally, like my friend, she eats only organic, so she will eat less meals to only eat organic instead of
Right.
eating whole meals.
And I think for everybody, it's a journey. And I think what happens with that is that people keep learning. If you have an open mind and you just continually learn how to take care of yourself, because this is all about self-care. And if you can learn that in such a way that you just keep progressing, then you'll find out that, actually, if you buy organic, you say, people use whatever excuse they can and say, I can't afford organic. You kidding me? That's too much money to pay for food. Well, if you can understand that you're going to pay for it later, then you're going to pay for it big time later on. So do whatever you can to learn what goes into your body. If it's good for you, then that's a good thing. If it's not, then as you keep learning to what is good, just by sometimes your own present being of where you are and how you react and knowing your own body.
Well, thank you so much, John. I learned so much, and hopefully everybody else is gleaning as well, learning. Please tell the audience where they can find you.
Yes. You can find me at my website, johnjew, JONJEW 360.com. You can see it in the lower left-hand corner there. And that's a good contact point. And feel free to, people can make an appointment. I'd be happy to talk to them for 30 minutes and figure out what we can do. I go down a lot of avenues, but it's all about health. It's all about lifestyle medicine. And there's, I do have also some products that can also accelerate your nutritional cells, your nutritional being as far as, what you put into your body. And it's all based on healing from within. So another product that I really, really like, and it's very symbolic, is healthy coffee. Because 73% of our people in this country drink coffee, and you might as well make it good coffee, healthy coffee, tasty and delicious coffee. That's what I learned from my organic popcorn business, is that you can actually eat something that is tasty and delicious and healthy and nutritious. And that's kind of the thing that, there's so much of that out there that people just need to know that.
Yeah, I love that so much. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you being here. I would like to now introduce our next guest. She is amazing. I have known her for years through Business Networking International. Debbie Thompson. She is a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner with a deep commitment to health and healing education. Specializing in the care of women and children, she has successfully helped hundreds to overcome chronic health issues, including pain, gut dysfunction, and cognitive challenges. Her holistic approach integrates comprehensive functional lab testing with personalized nutrition and lifestyle strategies, aiming to eliminate symptoms through addressing the root causes of disease. Currently, Debbie's work centers on the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases, emphasizing holistic health practices that support brain health. Debbie offers a compassionate, evidence-based path to healing and prevention, and her mission is to enable moms to thrive while providing them with the knowledge and tools to nurture vibrant, healthy families. And Debbie, I love your story so much. Please share with us more about you and what you do.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Marilyn. And by the way, that interview with John was wonderful. I was just sitting there cheering, and yes, everything he said, I agree. Totally. Thank you. Thanks for sharing, John. As a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, FDN, we call ourselves health detectives because we help uncover the root causes of illness. This is very parallel with what John just covered. It's a simple formula, right? It's take out what's harming the body and put in what the body really needs. So the detective work involves figuring out what that is. Is it a toxin, an infection? Is it mold? Is it just inflammation that you need to deal with? What nutrition are you lacking? And I covered, the foundation. I remember I watched your podcast last time with Dr. Garjaka talking about the foundation. We need to make sure our foundation is solid, because if our foundation is not, it'll crack and then we'll be ill. Foundation, like, for instance, a healthy diet, good night's sleep, just like John had mentioned, some exercise, not too little and not too much, some sunshine, some good clean water, and those kinds of things are the foundation. But most of my clients who come to me, they have already done those things. They've been very good about what their diet is. They've tried their best and they're still not well. And so now the detective work comes in to help them figure this out. We know that all illness, as John mentioned earlier too, we require energy, because without it, we don't have health. If you look at our lifespan, from the time we were born, we have lots of energy, and as we age, we have less and less and less until we have none, and we pass, right? So for me, the concept I'm looking at is, how can I help my clients generate energy, remove the blocks to energy flow, right? Provide all the energy they need. And so what I've done is I've chosen to focus on brain health, because the brain takes a lot of energy. It takes over 25% of the body's metabolic energy, and yet it's less than 5% of the body mass. It's an energy hog. And so we need to really provide for that. And guess what? If we provide the energy enough for our brain, we're probably providing enough for the rest of our body too. And so we'll be all the way healthy. So lately I have participated in a fellowship with Dr. James Greenblatt. He's the founder of Psychiatry Redefined, and he talks about how we can heal from psychiatric illnesses like anxiety, depression, even schizophrenia, bipolar, and all anorexia too, by looking at the same system we're talking about, the plus, and he calls it the plus and minus. You add what you need, you take out what you don't. And that basic formula helps to heal the body from the top to the bottom. I've also been incorporating the teachings of Dr. Dale Bredesen and Heather Sanderson. They work in helping people reverse Alzheimer's. Dr. Bredesen has done extensive research to prove that it's possible to reverse Alzheimer's, and that there's actually some testing available now that can show you if you're on your way there. This is what we know. I kind of want to go back to, I was just reading a book because I'm doing a lot of research as I'm putting together a course for folks who want to restore their brain health. But 25 years ago, this book was written on brain health, and they talked about the brain development through the ages. And it ended with, of course, old age and what happens. And it talked about Alzheimer's and how Alzheimer's was not preventable and not curable. So what's wonderful today is that we know that that's not true. So what else about health do we know today that we believe in the past that's not true? And that's what I help my clients with, discovering the truth. I like to think of myself as a seeker of the truth. We're always looking for what's true. And as we find it, we may have believed certain things in the past. There are a lot of dietary recommendations, health recommendations, medical recommendations that are no longer valid today. So what are those, and how will that help us heal? So that's kind of been my focus over the last several years, to help my clients weed out the myths, the false information, and then also instill hope that we can heal. Because I think without hope, and even John mentioned, a shift in our paradigm, our way of thinking, that encourages us to know that there are better things to do in our lives, that we have more to do, and we can create better health for ourselves. I'm at that age right now where I have a lot of peers who are taking care of their family members, and many of them are struggling with dementias, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and things like that. And so I wanted to be a resource to help with their parents, their family members to see if there's anything you can do to help improve their cognitive function from a biochemical, physical perspective. But also, since we know that that condition develops over a long period of time, how can I help you, the caregiver, prevent you from becoming incapacitated in that way, right? Because we know how devastating that is. Families are stressed to the limit when they have a parent or a family member who's struggling with dementias. As John mentioned, it costs a lot of money too. So it's not just time and energy and emotions, it's financial commitments too. To save all of that and not, not end up being like that. It's possible. I didn't recognize though how much fear there is about this whole issue, that people actually don't want to know because they feel that if they don't know, then maybe it won't happen. But I want to help people understand that it's better to know so you can do something about it now versus waiting until you have a diagnosis. And that goes for everything, chronic disease, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. There are signs way before you get a diagnosis that something's up and that you can make some minor corrections, and like John mentioned, starting with the food, just getting good food in your body is a step. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Preventative and proactive, like just what can we do now to ensure that we just move the needle into the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious how you are able to talk with your clients who, maybe don't feel 100% great, and you are able to help them navigate through. I mean, you're just so patient and loving, Debbie. I've known you for so long. So I'm just like, how do you navigate through people who may think that, there's no hope or things like that?
Yeah, usually our calls, the first consultation or discovery call that I offer complimentary is let's figure this out. Let's see, let's share information, your experiences and how you feel. And then I can provide you some guidance and maybe some reasons for you to have some hope. Usually when we get off the phone, we're both in tears because they realize that there are other things, very simple things to do to improve their health. It's unfortunate. Even if you do go to say a naturopath or a different kind of practitioner that's not a conventional practitioner, there's still some tools that you stay with, and you're still not really looking at the flow of energy. We talk about this, right? The flow of energy. We're just looking for root cause, but still something's blocking that energy flow. And we have to look at it not just from a biochemical, physical perspective, but we might even have to look at it from an emotional and spiritual perspective also. And so, looking at it from a very holistic perspective, I think it's important. But going back to even John's comments about the conventional medical system, when you look at, and I share this with my clients, why things have probably not worked so far. So from a conventional perspective, you're looking at, as John mentioned, symptoms, and then you get a diagnosis. And there's a standard of care that they have to provide, which is usually a medication or a surgery. But none of that addresses the root cause of those symptoms or the flow of energy. And so when you look at your health from a different perspective, then I think that instills hope in you, that you say, well, that, now that I look at it from that perspective, I can see how I can heal. And you're both right. Our bodies are miraculous. It knows how to heal. You just have to provide for it what it does and get out of the way. And I think a lot of times our lifestyles get in the way. And even, some supplements or some medications or some other things we try to do to improve our health actually do get in the way. And one of the big ones, though, I know you know that about me, but it's gut health, right? I really work on people's guts. And the reason why, it's because if your gut is not functioning the way it is, when I talk about gut, I mean from mouth to the butt. So this whole system is responsible for breaking down your food so that you can absorb the nutrients And then you have to eliminate the toxins in the waste. If that system is not working properly, you're going to be sick. And we know that the gut and brain are connected. The gut is connected to everything, but everything's connected, but there's more signals going from your gut to your brain than from your brain to your gut. And so that's why when we have dysfunctions in our gut, we can have mood issues, we can have cravings, we can have, things, emotional and psychological things that occur. And all we have to do is really work on our gut. So how do we do that? Well, the first, with the women that I work with, what's very common, and they come to me because they either have some chronic pain, they might have an autoimmune illness. Now I'm helping them with their cognitive issues, but they'll tell me that in college, they had bloating or constipation, and that they've normalized that to think that throughout the course of their life, that's just how it was. And so they've sustained that kind of illness for this long, and now it's showing up, like John mentioned, a lifetime of lifestyle that just finally catches up to you. And that's exactly what it's done. So with our digestive system, our gut, it provides you neurotransmitters. And if it's healthy, it can provide you with those things that you need. A recent client of mine, did you know that one of the earliest signs that they've realized of Parkinson's is constipation?
No.
So, and I know there's a lot of seniors out there who are constipated and they think that's normal, but it's not normal. Even for John's brother, he had a blockage that when you can't remove those things out of your system, things are going to fail in your body. You have to fix them. And then the other thing about the gut is that, over 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So if that's not healthy, we're more inclined to become sick and succumb to other things that are around us. So I think I just kind of went on a tangent there about the gut.
Oh, so good. I took so many notes. I'm just like, so, and I believe I've heard that, our second brain is the gut, and you're, confirming that there's so much more that goes from the gut to the brain than from the brain to the gut. So it's so interesting.
When people say that, when people say they're hangry.
Oh yeah.
Their gut is telling them, I need some food. And often they want sugar, they want chocolate, or they want a cookie or things like that. Or they get, tired. That mid-afternoon slump where people think, oh, I need a caffeine hit. That's your digestive system not working properly. That's, we can go into blood sugar and all those other things, but if you can take care of your gut and heal it and provide for it what it needs to be healthy, a lot of other things will correct itself. So, if you have bloating or acid reflux or constipation or diarrhea, you're lined up. That's your pathway to illness, and that needs to be corrected. But with the women I work with, they will say something like, I can't eat something anymore, whatever it is, fill in the blank. I used to be able to, eat this. I loved it. I can't eat that anymore. That's a sign of gut dysfunction. It's not something wrong with the food. It's not the food, it's your gut. So we have to, like as John mentioned, paradigm shifts, shift how we think about a lot of things, because we blame it on the food and it's not the food's fault.
That makes so much sense. And I'm curious, you talked about early signs of Parkinson is constipation. And so what should people look for? And if they are experiencing constipation, like how can they maybe start to remedy that and go in the better direction so that
maybe they need to just call John. You can do this very simply with lifestyle changes, right? Eat some healthy food, make sure you're hydrated, you have enough water, get some exercise. A lot of folks don't exercise or walk enough. They need to move that system, right? And then it's daily habits. I think in our younger days, maybe in my younger days anyway, when you're working and you can't take breaks, right? You train your system to be on hold until it's convenient for you. And that's actually a pretty, detrimental habit. You need to go at a regular time. And sometimes people just don't do that. Walking out in nature, just being close to nature helps you reset your body and your system. I think a lot of seniors don't have enough fiber, but then sometimes it's not the fiber. More fiber can actually create more constipation. So it's a balancing act. But yeah, definitely hydration and exercise, and eat some nutritious food. You can't have a healthy gut if you're eating processed food all the time with all those chemicals that you can't pronounce. Yeah, just eat good food. Yeah, but there are blood tests, actually, markers that can tell you that you've got some inflammation in there, and maybe you want to correct that to change your trajectory in your mental health as well as your total physical health.
Yeah, and you have a blood test class coming up, or
Yeah, I have. Well, it's a live blood analysis that's
announced.
Yeah, it's coming in a couple of days. But there's one test, the balance test. Zinzi does balance test that helps to measure your omega-3 fatty acids, and that's an indication, a measure of inflammation in the body. So that's one simple thing people can do to check and to easily correct.
Yeah. And so please share, like, if people want to book an initial consultation with you, what can they expect from that initial meeting?
So we will start with a complimentary discovery call, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Just, let's talk and find out what's going on with you and whether or not you think I can help you, whether or not it'd be a good fit for us to work together. I answer a lot of questions during that. And then if we want to move forward to an initial consultation, I actually look at blood work from a functional perspective, not a clinical perspective. So when you look at when physicians usually look at a blood test result, they're looking for, are you diagnosable or not? Are you sick or not? Right? I hear my clients tell me, oh, I'm not diabetic yet, which drives me crazy. But anyway, or they have other markers that are considered clinically healthy, and so they say, well, my blood test results are normal, but you want to look at it from the perspective of, how does a healthy person's blood look? And does yours match up to that? And often if you have symptoms already, it doesn't. It'll show up. And so we make some corrections on that. I have a very lengthy gut survey, 65 items to tell me if you have some gut issues. And it's got the food sensitivities, it's got emotional things, skin eczema that's rooted in gut health. So a lot of things will tell me if your gut is not working properly. And then I do an intake, a comprehensive intake and health history. And then we go over all of that stuff to see if, you want to try to go on your own and do it, or you need some help.
Love that. That's so helpful. I think there's a lot of people that just don't understand how in depth, like, the gut health is and how important it really is.
Yeah. And I know we're kind of running out of time, but the do-it-yourselfers, there's a lot of folks out there. There's so much information out there. And a lot of people, have lots of great products, and some products are not so great. And everyone's unique. And so you have to find out, you have to know what's best for you. And so, that's what I help my clients figure out what's best for them.
That's so good. Thank you, Debbie. And please tell our audience where they can find you.
Sure. They can go to my website, optimalenergynow.com. And on my website, there's a button you can click if you want to schedule a call and be in contact with me. That's the easiest place to go. Thanks for having me, Marilyn. This is great. And thank you, John.
Appreciate both of you, Debbie and John, for being here. And thank you. I do want to thank Mutual Aid Network for helping to sponsor this podcast, this World of Nutrition podcast. So Mutual Aid Network is a nonprofit that takes the people's from all over the world. Everybody has different strengths and skills, right? And so what's cool is Mutual Aid Network brings us all together to be able to provide our strengths and skills for other people, depending on, whatever it is. And so it's kind of like a trade, if you will, because not everybody may have the finances to, get a new website or whatever it may be, do a podcast, whatever it is. It's like we just are helping to fill in the holes and help to lift each other up. And I really love Mutual Aid Network. So every so often, one of my loves is to host Zoom karaoke, which I started doing during the pandemic because we're all stuck on Zoom. And so bringing people together to sing their favorite songs and hear their favorite music. And now I get to do that worldwide with people from all over the place with Mutual Aid Network. So it is a fantastic nonprofit. Please look into it. And then also I am an affiliate with Frequence, where frequency meets nutrition. So one of my favorite things is just learning more about energy, frequency, and vibration. All of our products have 11 harmonic frequencies infused into it and just help to raise our frequency. And I've just been so thrilled with the results that I've been getting, that my family, and then my clients as well. So, I had a coach. I forget what kind of coach she is. I was trying to think off the top of my head. She's a coach, and she just loves to drink our mango lemonade nootropics. And she's like, I just get the best downloads, the best insights, and it helps her focus and mental clarity and creativity. So she loves our mango nootropics, our mango lemonade nootropics. And then right now, for a limited time for the holidays, we do have an apple cider nootropics as well, which is great, either hot or cold. It's one of my favorites as well. So I just appreciate our guests for being here. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, John, and Mutual Aid Network for helping to sponsor this podcast. We'll see you again next month, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your month, November.